The purpose of this video is to show you how to enter data into graphical analysis and from that generate both a graph and an equation. The first thing you need to do is find your app, which looks like this. It's the little white box with the curves on it. Open it up. It should open up to the experiment page. They've changed things a little bit from what we did last year. But if you have an old experiment, you can pick one of those, but right now we're going to do a new experiment. So I just click on that. My choices are wireless sensors, data sharing, specify source, built-in sensors. We will almost always do manual entry. So we're going to enter it in by hand. So I'm just going to make up some data here. When you click on it, the keyboard pops up and you can enter your numbers. So let's just say I enter a 5 and I hit return. Now notice it goes across the row, which it's really nice. A lot of times when I have a regular spreadsheet, I like to go down a column. I have not found a way to do that. If you find one, let me know and I'll let everybody know you're a genius. But in the meantime, I'll just go 5, 6. And then once it gets to the end of that row, hitting return puts it to start next row. I hit return too many times, so I can click on that. I can click on any cell. That's what we call the little boxes I want to enter data. So there it is. So let's just go 6 and let's break the pattern a little bit. And let's go 8. And let's go 7. And go 11. That's enough for what we're doing. So you're in your lab, you'll have your data, okay, and it defaults to X and Y. So once you're done internet, you can just click on the screen somewhere, and then I want to look at it. So I hit my little wrench right here, and I have the choices. I have 1 graph, 2 graphs, 3 graphs, or I have a table. This is the table mode. If you have 2 different sets of data and you want to look at both graphs at once, you can, but we will almost always just do 1 graph at a time. Now you notice I put in 3 dots, but I only see 2. For one thing, somebody thinks it's a good idea to have this little picture up in the corner that shows me what the big picture looks like. I hate it, so I always just close it. Okay, I'm missing my dot, so I'm going to take my fingers. You guys are used to iPads, and I'm going to squeeze them together. Now I can see all 3 dots. Do not ask me why it doesn't do that automatically and show you all the data points. I don't know. It used to, but it doesn't always do that. Okay, and I can, by twisting it around, I can change my data. I can squeeze it this way. I can squeeze it this way. I have those options. Okay, whatever looks cool. Okay, so there's my data. That's entered. Now I want to generate a graph. I want an equation. So I need to highlight the points I want. There may be a time when you've got a bad data point you don't want to include, but you have to tell it. It won't highlight anything to the right of the last point or to the left. Once I highlight it, it gives me these choices. I want to fit a curve on this. If I fit the curve, it will automatically give me the equation. Now as I do different choices, proportional means it has to go through the 0, 0 point, so that is not good. Linear should be pretty good right here. That's what we're going to use for our lab. You will want the linear. We will almost never use quadratic because you can make a quadratic fit almost anything. We will use power sum. Probably the next most common one we use is variable power, okay, where I can choose the exponent. In this case it's 2, but we'll talk about that later. So for right now, I'm going to go back up to linear. Once you have what you want, we don't really need the statistics. You can just click anywhere. There's my equation. It's probably hard to see on the video, but it says y equals mx plus b, and my m is 2.5, and my b is 6.67. So that's my best fit equation. If I want to try it again and use a different equation, I can click on it. I can delete it. Notice it only deletes the equation. not the data points. That's actually all you need to know to do today's lab, but just a couple of things for future reference. If you go back to experiments, you'll notice it never deletes an experiment. So if for some reason I need to find something I did earlier in the day, I can always go back to the iPad, but I have to go off the date and time. That's how you find what you did. There's no way to name these right now. Later on, they may change that, but right now there's no way to name these. So if I decide, oh, this was the experiment I wanted that I did 30 minutes ago, I want that data, it is still there. So it always saves your data. So let's say I go back to this experiment, I open that up. One other thing that will come in handy later, if for some reason you get your data backwards, you don't have to re-enter it all, because if I click over here, this chooses what is my y-axis, so I couldn't flip these. I could say that's what I want for my y-axis and not this. It also allows you to put two different graphs on the same grid. Okay, so I can flip-flop this if I want, because if I click down here in the x, I can make that my x, and then I flipped my x and my y. You do not need to do that for this graph. So, but in the future, I can basically guarantee that some of us will get our data backwards, and that's okay. It's not a big deal. And if you don't remember how to do it, all you really need to remember is that's possible, and ask me and I'll show you. It's real quick to do. All right, good luck.